Okay, hello there. Hey, I'm gonna just try out a hopefully quick track tutorial for the MX5 at Ledenon. My lap time here was 23 Celsius ambient temperature, 41 Celsius track temperature. Sorry, Americans can't do the conversion. I have no idea how. I don't work in freedom units. Sorry, guys. Anyways, it looks like lap number 3 is going to be your fastest lap that you're going to have. You can see lap number this is the reset that I took. Lap number 2 and then was pretty good. Lap number 3 is going to be the fastest, and then after that, you're going to notice just a little bit of. I gotta just bring that down. A little bit of drop off of your tire lap after lap if you're not careful. If you're really trying to push the tires, you're going to notice it even more. So our league races are the 15 minutes. By the 10-minute mark, if you're really trying to push those tires, you're gonna be on the struggle bus. Anyways, so what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna just play the lap in the chase view with the telemetry here up. And after that, then I'll talk about it. I'll talk about generally how it went, the goods and the bads, and walk you through it. So, without further ado, here you go. And well, the most boring part of the track, uphill, straight to the finish line. Not a lot to see after there. Yeah, okay, so let's go back to the very beginning of the lap. And now, it's not the very best lap that I've done before. It's not going to be the very best lap out there that you're going to see. Now, the thing that I want to go through is that while I'm driving a car, I only did about 15 laps. You can see it's not a lot of laps. And what I want to get through on that kind of topic is that when I'm driving the car, when I'm going to learn a track, I'm trying to set my goals and my goals for every single corner and what I'm trying to achieve. And so what I mean by that is, okay, so obviously this is a left turn. The goal is going to be all the way as far as you can reasonably to the right, hit the apex, and so on. So setting up the goal of where you want the car to be, the general control and balance of that. So I'm always trying to look at every single corner, what is the goal and what I'm trying to achieve, where I'm trying to place the car. So here, I actually recommend shifting up to 4th gear because when you're in 4th gear, I find it just makes it a little easier. You can see I let off the throttle, 0 brakes, hit that apex. You want to hit the red and white just a little bit or maybe even a little bit off. at this point right here is where I shift into third gear. And the reason for that is actually it carries a little bit more speed, I was finding. And it gives me the trajectory that I was looking for. Sorry, it's a little bit of a pause. So I was just saying that this is, at this moment, this is exactly where I shift into third because it gives me the trajectory and the carrying speed that I want. Through these corners, you're not actually looking to be, here's my braking marker, here's the throttle point, all of that, forget it. What you're trying to actually achieve is the line and car balance, general car balance. You can see the car balance is not all over the place. It's generally controlled. So that's the goal that you're looking for. So that's why I'm using these gears. You can see that sometimes I'm coasting a little bit, brake, coast, steer, coast, brake, so on. So when I hit the brake here, this is my shift into second gear. So that right there is into second. And you can actually see with the brake, second gear, and it actually rotates more. Tap the brake and it'll dive that nose down and then have you pitch in and then on the throttle and away you go. There you go. Not so hard. It is and isn't. So but at full speed, here you go. The trajectory and general line you want. So that you can exit right here as fast as you can, and there you go. So now, this corner, you can actually see the white line, if you can see my mouse, and then it has a little bit of a left bend, and this is the point that you want to use as your braking marker. Not that spot exactly, but almost count it out in your head how much time has passed once you've gone beyond that spot there. So the distance from it is your braking marker. You have to memorize in your head the amount of time it takes. There you go. So down in the first gear for this corner, don't have to steer a lot. The car will sort of rotate itself in. Throttle nice and easy. You don't want to go straight on to throttle too heavy, too fast. This corner is going to have a lot of benefit if you sort of go easy on your throttle. It's nice, smoother. If you just go with an on-off switch, you're going to have a tough time. You can see right here on, I had to come off a little bit. That was a little bit too quick onto the throttle, actually. But the car will rotate itself in. You can actually see it really didn't steer that much into the corner. It did it for me. So yeah, and then use as much track as possible. The smoother you are on the throttle, the better. And another cool thing to note, actually, one cool technique that I'm using here is when I go off of that brake completely, before I go on the throttle, I actually give a little bit of a coast, and you can steer a little bit with the car as well while you're in that coasting mode. So it's a little bit of a coast. See, off, turn, and then go on the throttle, and that can actually help you. See, hitting the curb unsettled the car, so if you miss that curb, then it's going to be better. But that was actually a perfect example of coast between, like, let go of the brake, coast, steer a little more, and then go on your throttle, and away you go. A lot of these corners, you can actually apply that same kind of technique. This corner, cockpit. So right here, I'm at second gear, and your braking marker for this corner is going to be shift up to third. There is not, this is the way I do it. Shift up to third, and the amount of time that you're in third gear, you sort of memorize how long it takes for you to be, how long it takes in third gear till your braking marker. And so I actually go off of memory of time with that. Going off of time like that gets you a little bit more in the zone, in the focus of what is it that is happening. You're just more in the zone. So look, second gear, shift up to third, and then after a certain amount of time, there you go. Down into first for that corner. Back to here. There you go. So this corner, I actually use the coast steer a little bit, but not a lot. But the coast aspect, I think, is going to be really important. This car will throw itself in quite easily. So not a lot of steering. Look at this. I'm really not steering a lot. Hardly steering this car at all. Barely anything. Coast, steer more, and back on throttle, and there you go. The smoother you are on throttle, here I cheated a little bit because the rear end stepped out, so I counter steered, all that. I didn't want to give up the pace, but I guarantee if you do that too much, forget it. Forget it. You're going to have a bad time throughout a race. It's actually going to be better if you go smoother on your throttle and not try and catch a slide. Yeah. So that was it right there. Use all of the track. Now here you can go as decently amount left without going off track. I would say just a tiny bit more, and this would be a 1x. But the turn-in point would be the sand. And all I'm doing is laying off the throttle. There you go. Staying in the same gear, let off the throttle, go all the way out. And as soon as I go on to this part, I'm really starting to brake. It's that sewer grate. Not a lot of brake. You don't have a lot of stability out there. The car will be thrown around. Here's the coast. Turn in more. There you go. There it is. Right again. So off the brake. Turn in more as during the coast. Throttle. This is a second gear for me. You actually want to aim for approximately right here. But the goal of this corner, I would say the goal of this corner is actually stability. Before I was talking about the goals of a corner and so on, and so the goal of this corner, I haven't gone through the goal of every corner, my bad, but the goal of this corner would be holding on to general stability because the car will be all over, so not a lot of steering input, making sure when you hit the curb that you're not making the car jump around too much. When you come up here, it's going to be the same thing. Your braking is not going to be very quick. You have to go slower, a little bit smoother onto the brake, not a lot, so that you can hold on to that stability and keep the general line. Braking a little bit earlier than you think, possibly, because you really want to hit this mark right here, where the car is on this white line. And so the goal is to be here. A lot of times if you brake too late, you're out here, and all of a sudden you can't accelerate the way that you want. And you know what? This is also a little bit of chaos to the car getting unsettled. There you go. And there it is. And yeah. So the next corner is completely blind. What I'm doing here is all the way to the right. And it's just mostly a rhythm, trying to go with a bit of a flow, more of a muscle memory, if anything. So it's like this, and then that. You know what I mean? Like you sort of get a rhythm, a flow, and you have a timing of your movements. And so once I get here, then I know I hit that line, I've hit that certain point of the track. Now I can start moving back over, and hey, look at that. There is my turn. You can take more of that. It just destabilizes the car a little bit more. But here, you can also go a little bit wider. Also not a lot of braking effort. Going to be a lot of coasting. A lot of coasting. then steer and throttle, and there you go. And so your general goal of this corner is actually, I think, going to be a lot more coasting so that you can get the trajectory that you want. There's going to be a lot of people, I think, who spin on this corner because they're either trying to brake for too long, or they're going to be on throttle, then off, then on, then off, because this is a decreasing radius turn. Check this out. This is a bad view. Check this out. Decreasing radius. It's just, oh yeah, you can see it with this one. So because of that, and with the braking zone, it's just not a lot of brake. When I hit the brake again, it will actually see very, very little steering. I'm basically counter steering. And it's mostly about the direction that the car is traveling and understanding how to keep it traveling in the direction that you want. You can see the steering can be a little bit all over the place. I'm looking at now. It's left, right, all the things. But the car stability looks right. And so the goal is actually the line rather than exactly what you're doing. Here, you actually want to brake maybe a little bit earlier than you think as well, because you got to focus on that exit. I lost a little bit here on the exit. I waited too long to go onto the throttle, and then I also shifted too early. So that did not help. You can actually go on this corner. You don't have to do the coast and throttle. The coast and throttle here will be much safer, but it will not be faster. And it's not required to keep the tires in check, whereas I do think it is in the other ones, in the other corners. So here, a little bit earlier, you can see after I've gone over the curb, see braking at this mount, after I've gone over the curb, car stabilizes, then brake harder. As soon as so this is actually a really cool effect right here. As I'm coming off as I'm coming off the brake, you can see the pressure coming down. I start turning in more, and what that does is it throws the car in a nice stable way, and then at the apex on the throttle. This is the picture perfect, I guess, the string theory. As it goes off, there you go, full throttle. Maybe not picture perfect, maybe it's far from it. You don't need to use all of the track, but it's better to use as much as possible, as much as you feel it works for you. And I think that maybe the amount of steering I had was part of why I didn't get as much exit speed. But if you do this corner right, your left tires will essentially hook into between the red and white curb and the white line. It hooks in and it hooks you around, and then you just go. So there you go. That is the walkthrough. Hopefully this helps. Hopefully this helps some people out there. A little bit of car control and things, and just focus on the goal of the corner and trying to accomplish where you want the car to be within those goals. And hopefully that helps. I'll see you guys later.